My brother-in-law spent a summer in Peru with his parents when he was a teen. I don't know why, but this has become his personality. I had a fun cocktail party at my apartment when I lived in the city. My sister brought him as they had just begun dating. He spent most of the time complaining that my pisco sours weren't very authentic and that he had much better ones in Peru. We went out a few years later and ate at a little restaurant downtown with tasty ceviche. Nope, it was done all wrong. You get the idea. Well, we all grew up, and I married a guy who owns a small bit of land outside my hometown. We have a bit of an animal rescue, and I love it. There's only one issue: Larry and Darnell, llamas. They're ill-tempered idiots. I still love them, but I've grown to understand their moods. But the worst thing is that they spit a lot, inaccurately. My sister's family is spending 2 weeks with us this summer to get the kids out of the city, so the cousins can all spend time together. I gave everyone the same warning: keep away from the llamas, they aren't friendly. My brother-in-law knew better because he had lived in Peru and used them as pack animals. Well, he's currently in the bathroom, washing out his mouth for the last 15 minutes. He went right over to the llamas to show his kids they weren't dangerous, and he got a double barrel of llama phlegm right in his mouth and eye. He called me an idiot for not telling him that my llama spit. All llamas spit. Anyone who lived in Peru and used them as pack beasts would know this. I found out from my sister just now that he went to a touristy golf course that has llamas for carriers for the golf clubs. He didn't even go on a long hike with them. So, am I the idiot for not being more explicit in my warning and letting my know-it-all brother-in-law learn the hard way? Not the idiot. It sounds like your brother-in-law is a drama llama. I've never been to Peru, but I've seen videos on the internet of llamas spitting. But in general, if someone tells you an animal's not friendly and not to approach it, why would you still do it? Animals are wildly unpredictable in general. Dude had it coming. My brother-in-law thought he was the llama whisperer, but discovered he was the llama spittoon. Always listen to the owner about an animal's disposition. If the owner says it's an idiot, then it is. Some are smooth. They'll act all cute and cuddly with a new stranger. Then they get to know you, and the true personality emerges. Cats are good at this. Others will immediately let you know and take pride in being the idiot. This is hilarious. He got what he deserved. I honestly thought it was common knowledge that llamas are big jerks. Your brother-in-law sounds insufferable. If he's using a summer vacation from childhood as the basis of his personality, then he has no personality. He acts like a know-it-all brat. What happened to him is hilarious and absolutely not your fault. I feel bad for his spouse and kids. He sounds like an immature college kid, not an adult with a family. Also, telling children that llamas were safe to play with after OP specifically warned them to stay away. Even if they were good-natured, no one should tell children to ignore safety warnings. Being disrespectful to your host and endangering kids is a big no. Anyway, OP gives Larry and Darnell an extra treat for being so awesome and putting brother-in-law in his place. This made my day. I got lightly rear-ended turning out of the neighborhood yesterday. 35-year-old guy was super apologetic, and there was minimal surface damage to my rear bumper. He agreed to pull into a nearby strip mall to exchange info, but said he was hurrying to get to work. We've been burned before in handshake accident info exchanges, so my husband now insists I always get a police report just in case the damage is worse than it appears. Once the dude realized I was calling the police, he started begging me not to because he doesn't have a license, can't go back to jail, and needs to get to work. He's dressed in casino deal uniform. He's pleading and insisting it's no big deal and I'm going to ruin his life over nothing. Keeps asking why I can't just take his insurance info. Plus, his dog is home alone. I insist on the police report just as documentation, and apologized that it isn't personal and I can't be responsible for his issues. He was clearly panicked, calling work, his mom, and someone to deal with the dog. Once police arrive, they quickly figure out he's not supposed to be driving, and he's cuffed and put in the squad car. Shortly after, an ambulance and fire truck pull up because he's apparently having a panic attack. So, am I the idiot for not giving this dude a break? Feeling pretty terrible today, but at the same time, it is pretty standard to get a police report, and the dude shouldn't have been driving. Not the idiot. That insurance card was fake. Insurance companies do not write policies for unlicensed drivers. And if the policy was someone else's, all that person has to do is say the dude didn't have permission to be driving it, and the insurance wouldn't cover it. Yeah, for real. He rear-ended OP while turning out of the neighborhood? Sounds like a 1,000% preventable accident. Like, buddy, if you're gonna drive with no license and are scared of going back to jail, maybe look where the heck you're driving. It's wild that he framed this whole situation as if OP is ruining his life over nothing, when his decisions and actions led to this. Probably a pattern for him at this point. I mean, you're supposed to file a police report in any sort of car accident. You weren't in the wrong. You were rear-ended. Despite how lightly it might have been, it's still an accident. You did a good thing. He tried to guilt you into letting him go. And yeah, apparently he's not even supposed to be driving. LOL. Anyone who's not supposed to be driving should not be driving for a reason. You did yourself a fair one and saved other people from possibly getting injured or screwed over. Unpopular opinion, but you are the idiot. Technically, you're right. Morally, I'd say you're a massive idiot. You potentially assisted in ruining him over what you admit is minimal damage. Where I come from and where I live, you don't call the cops on each other for tiny incidents. Yeah, this comment section made me so angry. So many people are saying that since he has a criminal past, he deserves to have his life ruined. You all need to remember that felons are humans too. I didn't think that was something that needed to be said, but here we are. Honestly, I don't think there's an idiot in this situation. OP has a right to protect himself from being scammed, and the dude deserves to be able to get to work so that he and his dog don't starve. I, 38 male, have a daughter, Daniela, a tween, who has a birthday next week. Over the past few years, my sister Chloe, 32, made grand promises to Daniela on her birthday, and they all fell through. The first came about 3 years ago, and Chloe promised to take her to her first Broadway show. I checked with Chloe a couple of times that she could afford it, wanted to take a young tween to the city, we live about an hour away, etc. Chloe promised up and down it was all good. Then 2 days before the show, she said plans had changed, and she sold the tickets. Daniela was devastated, but Chloe tried to make it up to her by taking her to dinner the following week. For Daniela's next birthday, a similar thing happened. Chloe put an IOU in the card and basically told Daniela that she could cash it in for one of a few activities. Daniela would text Chloe throughout the year, asking when they would do it, but Chloe always had an excuse. Eventually, the year ended with nothing being done. Daniela said that she didn't care about not getting a gift, but it was disappointing to be promised something and then have it taken away. She actually talked to Chloe about it, and Chloe apologized. The next birthday was the worst example in my opinion. Chloe promised she would take her the following weekend to an amusement park that Daniela really wanted to go to. Daniela was so excited, but Chloe continued canceling on her until the amusement park closed for the season. It should be noted that these things Chloe promises are stuff out of my budget most of the time. I did end up doing 2 of the activities on the IOU, but things like a Broadway show and the amusement park tickets were not something I could afford. I did save up to bring Daniela this summer, and she had a ton of fun, but I know it was disappointing for her last year. Chloe apologized, but Daniela was less receptive to it at that time. This year, Chloe told me she wanted to take Daniela to New York overnight to see a show. I asked proof this was booked. Chloe said she would do it once she figured out a time they could go. I said no more of this. She doesn't have to give Daniela anything at all, but if she does, it needs to be something planned and something she doesn't intend to back out of. No more IOUs. If she wants to gift these things, they need to be booked and non-refundable so I can see that she isn't going to back out. Chloe promised this time it would be different. I said, okay, then do as I asked. Chloe said I was being unfair and holding the past against her. She also said that I can't control what she gives my daughter for her birthday. Some family members have backed her up, saying Chloe's harmless, and Daniela needs to understand that sometimes things don't work out. I pointed out, my daughter knows that lesson very well, as she's lost her mom young, and the only consistent woman figure she has, her aunt, keeps letting her down. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but do not let Chloe take your daughter out of town for an overnight. Her behavior does not seem to support that your daughter would be well taken care of. And Chloe's giving a gift to your daughter, just not the intended one. Your daughter's learning what kind of person Chloe is. It sounds as if she's already figured that out. Right? Honestly, I'm wondering if at this point, the daughter even wants Chloe for her birthday. If someone let me down multiple years in a row, I'd probably just learn that this isn't someone I can trust or depend on, and I wouldn't trust a single thing they said. OP, stick to your guns. You can't give promises as gifts if you never plan to follow through. This isn't a kid making a coupon book for mom or dad with cute little things. This is a grown adult repeatedly screwing over a child just because they can't stop being a flake. Sorry, but Chloe seems like a disaster, and I'd really be wary of trusting my child to someone so flaky, callous, and careless. Chloe isn't harmless, and OP's helping Daniela to understand that Chloe makes promises she has no intention of fulfilling. I hope that OP shuts his family down. Chloe should be ashamed, and also the family for backing her. Seriously, they excuse an adult for every single time making false promises to a kid. Crappy people. We're on vacation with my husband's family. We got here Sunday afternoon, and I was hungry. I made food for myself and my son. My husband said to wait for his family so we could all have dinner together, or maybe even go out. It was around 4 o'clock, and he said we'd eat at 7. I said I was hungry, and my son and I ate. After that, the three of us sat by the pool. His family arrived around 6, and everyone was hungry and wanted to go out to eat. I don't know if it was the traveling, but I was exhausted, so I said I was too tired and would go to bed early. My son stayed home with me because he wasn't hungry and wanted to stay. I woke up early this morning, made tea, and sat by the pool while my son played. When my sister-in-law woke up, she came out to the pool and told me off for eating early, not going to dinner, and being so standoffish. She said everyone wanted to see me and my son, and I was being such a witch. I said I was tired from traveling. She said if I forced myself to stay awake, I'd be on the same schedule as everyone else. But since I went to bed early and woke up early, I was going to have the same excuse tonight. She also told me off for not making breakfast when I was the first to wake up, but I didn't know when everyone was going to wake up, and no one wanted a cold breakfast. She just rolled her eyes and walked away. I feel like everyone's been standoffish with me all morning, and I'm wondering if maybe I should apologize. Was I an idiot? Not the idiot. When your body's sending hunger signals, you should eat. Waiting 3 hours to do so is ridiculous and unhealthy, and your child's bedtime would have likely occurred when they were out for dinner, so pretty inconsiderate of them to not include that as a factor when choosing a dinner time. And these people are adults. Can they not get themselves breakfast? LOL. Right? It sounds like sister-in-law was jealous that OP decided to listen to her body and get rest after traveling instead of people-pleasing and forcing herself to be hungry and tired. And expecting breakfast is beyond insane. OP isn't the maid. She's on vacation too. I disagree. OP's the idiot because she was passive-aggressive in her behavior. Yes, I'll buy that the kid was hungry and tired, as was she. However, a snack at 4 p.m. won't ruin a 7 p.m. dinner, and a quick nap would have freshened both up to go enjoy the evening meal with family. OP chose to eat a full meal with her kid and noped out of a group dinner she was aware of in advance, not as an oops, but because, in my opinion, OP never wanted to go on vacation in a group to begin with. OP didn't want to join us for dinner and blew everyone off and went to bed. That's just rude. My female 28 best friend was supposed to get married back in April. The venue had a fire, so they had to postpone the wedding. I have a toddler daughter named Annie. The original wedding date fell on one of my ex's days with her, but the new date fell on one of my days. Before they reset the date, he told me he'd still have her if it fell on one of my days, but to let him know as soon as I knew, so we could make sure he booked it off. We work at the same place on opposite shifts, so if I'm off, he's at work, and vice versa. When we split up, we worked our custody arrangements around this. We just found out about the rescheduled date a month ago. It was Wednesday's wedding. The ex was scheduled to work, and he couldn't take off due to the short notice, as too many other people were off. No one in our family was free to look after her. None of his friends were free, and most of mine were attending the wedding themselves. I even tried the parents of her friends, but no luck. I asked my friend if I could bring Annie to the wedding, and my mom would be able to pick her up at 3 o'clock after she finished work. She said no, because it was supposed to be child-free. I told her the situation, and that I would only be able to go to the reception then. I was supposed to be a bridesmaid, so she wasn't happy about this. She told me to get a babysitter, but no one was free, and I didn't want to leave her with a stranger. I apologized and said I couldn't attend the ceremony, but I could go to the reception. She got upset and told me not to bother, and didn't talk to me for days, so I didn't bother. Yesterday, I got an angry text from her mom, demanding to know why I hadn't turned up to the reception like I said I would. I told her what my friend had told me, and she made excuses that she'd been stressed with the wedding preparations, and I shouldn't have taken it seriously. I regret missing out on the wedding, and I wish I had just gone now. I was just worried she'd get upset at me if I did. I don't know. Do you think I'm the idiot? Not the idiot. Your best friend may have been stressed out, but also left you with no options, so it was decided for you. You can't just lock your child in a closet somewhere and go. You tried to find a realistic solution, but nothing worked out. You offered to go to the reception. She told you not to. You were hurt, but you respected her wishes. She can't be angry at you for that too. Wedding planning is difficult, but give me a break. You have to play the cards you're dealt. People need to stop making such a big deal over weddings. Keep it simple and flexible. I also don't know how last minute they got the venue sorted, but children or not, less than a month of notice is nowhere near enough time for almost anyone. Some people have to travel, and others need time off from work, especially for a wedding on a weekday, which this was. I understand it's disappointing for the bride and groom, but it's the reality of leaving things so last minute. I'll get downvoted, but so be it. I'll go with everyone's the idiot here. I mean, she obviously didn't give you many options, but her wedding was close. One of her bridesmaids, you, wouldn't be able to go to the ceremony, and she got angry. You should have at least tried to talk to her in the days that followed your conversation. She's your best friend, and you didn't seem to care that you wouldn't be able to go to the wedding.